This documentary will never see the light of day. I'll do whatever it takes to stop it. If these two accounts don't stop posting about this ridiculous documentary about my mom, I'll make sure their accounts are removed.
We were filming like 10 to 15 videos a day.
Have you ever heard of the term kidfluencing? I've been hearing that a lot lately.
Everything is controlled by Tiffany.
It's Piper, go!
Piper Rockel is an incredibly popular child influencer.
The world of social media has created a new kind of celebrity, the kidfluencer.
This young lady's amassed more than 10 million followers on YouTube.
With millions of followers and brand deals worth more than most adults make in a lifetime, child influencers have become a massive industry. But behind the cute content and choreographed TikToks, there is a dark side. One filled with exploitation, legal battles, and the loss of childhood itself. As many of you guys are familiar on my channel with dance moms, we've seen our fair share of stage moms, hungry stage moms, evil stage moms, and just absolutely batshit crazy stage moms that will push their kid to do absolutely anything to the most extremes, sell their kid up to anybody just to get them famous. And I feel like Dance Moms was like a whole new wave of social media, and I feel like that's kind of what gave birth to the rise of kidfluencing. There's this new documentary coming out on Netflix in April about kidfluencers, and it's specifically focused on Piper Rockelle and her mother Tiffany Smith.
Piper's mother, Tiffany Smith, is the Mamaager.
It seemed so innocent. It wasn't innocent at all.
And if you don't know who Piper Rockelle is,
Lovely Miss Piper!
Piper Rockelle isn't just a kid with a YouTube channel. She's the center of an entire empire. But behind the curated vlogs and viral challenges that she posts, serious allegations have emerged about the way she and other children in her orbit have been treated. From lawsuits to accusations of emotional and physical harm, her story exposes the darker realities of growing up online. And I'm just gonna say, you guys, before we get into this mom, Tiffany, is truly absolutely heinous. I'm just gonna say, for the sake of everything in this video, that things are all alleged, just so that this woman doesn't try and sue me. But also, as a spoiler alert, there have been like 11 different people that have come forward with a lawsuit against her, and apparently her own daughter filed a $22 million lawsuit against this woman because of how she treated her and how she's been milking her and exploiting her since she was a child.
Tiffany finds people who want to be famous.
Things can get very muddy when kids are making an obscene amount of money.
She takes advantage of them.
At her peak, Piper's earning between $300,000 and $500,000 a month.
So if you've never heard the term kidfluencer, you've probably at least heard the term influencer, so it probably makes sense to you. It's pretty self-explanatory, but a kidfluencer is basically a child or a teenager who's built a significant social media following, often through like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I personally think of like JoJo Siwa when I hear the term kidfluencer, and yes, we know her from Dance Moms as well, but she was like the first huge kid influencer in my opinion, and I think that she'd be a great example that everybody knows. Also a great example of the damaging effects of being a child exploited in the industry. We've all seen JoJo quite literally spiral out of control online, and she's basically done absolutely everything in a desperate attention-seeking monstrosity. I don't even know what to call that woman, but these young influencers create content ranging from like toy reviews. We've all heard of that kid, I think his name was Ryan Reviews Toys, that was making millions and millions of dollars just reviewing toys on YouTube. Then you've got like the kidfluencers of the family vloggers and the kidfluencers that do the dance challenges, beauty tutorials, lifestyle posts. Many of them attract millions of followers and secure brand deals worth huge amounts of money, which we've heard of. Like JoJo Siwa had like $1 billion bow empire. However, the rise of these kidfluencers has sparked major ethical concerns, including, obviously, child exploitation. Many children are managed by their parents or guardians, raising questions about financial control, consent, and the pressures of fame. And then there's, of course, the lack of labor protections. Unlike child actors who have strict labor laws in place, such as California's Coogan Law, kidfluencers often operate in a legal gray area with no guarantees that they'll receive even a fair share of their earnings. And of course, the loss of your privacy in childhood, being constantly put online. Being constantly filmed and monetized can have lasting psychological effects on kids, especially when their personal lives become entertainment for millions. And it's hard to decipher as a kid, like, what is real, what is my actual identity, and what is just like for me putting on a show and trying to please people online. On the surface, kidfluencers like Piper Rockelle aren't all that different from people like JoJo Siwa. Both started young, they built massive online followings, and became multi-million-dollar brands before even reaching adulthood. They share the same high energy, but on one side you've got like that high energy, kid-friendly aesthetic that JoJo had with her signature bows and glitter, and then on Piper's end you have child exploitation to the absolute max. Like, this mom was selling her kids like dirty underwear and feet pictures and stuff like that online. Like, she was truly unhinged. While JoJo was heavily managed by Nickelodeon and corporate teams, Piper's career has been controlled almost entirely by her mother, Tiffany Smith, and that's where the similarities end. Unlike JoJo's stage mom, Jesselyn, who helped shape her brand within a structured entertainment industry, Tiffany's been accused of exploiting Piper and the children around her in ways that go far beyond strict parenting. From disturbing lawsuits to allegations of inappropriate behavior, Tiffany's management of Piper's career has sparked controversy, legal action, and serious freaking concerns about the dark side of kidfluencing. But what I've come to notice is that behind every kidfluencer is a wild, fame-hungry, and often manipulative and absolutely conniving stage mom. Tiffany Smith, the mother and manager and Mamaager of Piper Rockelle, has been at the center of multiple disturbing allegations, particularly regarding her treatment of Piper, but also with other children in their social media circle. Like, this mom basically lures people in, like she lures kids in that want to be famous, and she preys on the fact that they want to be famous, and then just manipulates them and controls them. Honestly, like, does a bunch of like super inappropriate shit, but we'll get into that.
Tiffany would direct us to pose certain ways. She would be like, over and over, sex sells, make it sexy.
Here's just like a quick little laundry list of what Tiffany's basically been accused of. First, there's sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior towards minors. In 2022, 11 former members of Piper's influencer group sued Tiffany Smith for alleged sexual harassment, emotional abuse, and exploitation. The lawsuit accused Tiffany of making inappropriate gestures around the children, including discussing their bodies and making crude remarks. And one kid came forward, like a young tween boy, and said that Tiffany kissed him. There's video evidence of this. Apparently the video actually went live and then it was quickly deleted, and she's grabbed at his underwear and she's made people touch her thighs. Like, this woman is sick.
Flirt with the camera. Here we go.
I was 17 years old, and the kiss happened.
Then what else could they get away with?
She grabbed him by the waist and tried to pull his underwear. She dragged him into her bedroom, and at this point Tiffany was pushed away, put to bed, and the boy left the residence.
Some former members even claim that Tiffany would encourage or force them into uncomfortable, suggestive situations for the sake of content. Like, one girl came forward and said that she was told to wear a towel in a video instead of clothes, and she was like 11 years old. Then we have her emotional and psychological abuse. Tiffany's been accused of manipulating and emotionally abusing both Piper and the other young members of what they called, like, the squad, I think? Yeah, it was called the squad, and Elliana Walmsley was in this squad. So basically think of like a content house, but I guess they would go home and then come back there and work all day, and some of the kids lived in the house, like in this content house, and Elliana Walmsley, like I said, was in this squad, but we'll get to her later. But let's talk about the emotional and psychological abuse, because Tiffany's been accused of manipulating and emotionally abusing both Piper and the people in this squad.
From afar, joining the squad looked like so much fun. I won't go into too much detail because I do respect that Piper's mom has a business she's running, but my mom and I felt pressured and uncomfortable by Piper's team to do some of the things. For example, they tried to put me in a love triangle with a boy I didn't know, and I was going to be that girl that has to fight over a boy with another girl, and it was just going to be a competition to be with a boy, and it was just like really dumb. And I'm only 13. I don't think I should fake a relationship this early. Like, who wants to go through that at such a young age? And also, Piper's mom kept shoving confidentiality agreements in our faces, pressuring us to sign them, so she could try to silence us, like everybody in the squad, so she could try to control the public story of every single squad member. And if they felt we didn't listen, they would punish us by not promoting us to show their power. And after recently chatting with some previous squad members like Gavin and Corinne, we noticed a pattern of behavior that felt negative and unhealthy. And in the end, it became way too much to handle. And I want to be my most authentic self, so I felt like I was lying to myself and to you guys because I want to be an actress, so I'm going to focus on that.
Some reports suggest that she would isolate kids from their families and create a toxic, high-pressure environment where they felt obligated to perform. So I'm assuming that this would mean like the kids that were actually living in the house, but she would also tell people, like kids that were in this squad, who they were allowed to talk to. Elliana said she liked an Instagram post and she had to unlike the post, and another kid in this squad named Gavin was told that he's not allowed to talk to certain people. And allegations toward her also include gaslighting and verbal abuse, with claims that Tiffany would scream at the children and control their personal relationships. This Gavin also said that she would have like these quote-unquote panic attacks, is what she would call them, but it was basically her excuse to be like nasty, controlling, and manipulative towards these kids.
Her mom, one of the biggest part about this whole situation, over time, our relationship began to be more of a abusive and obsessive relationship than more of just a, it was more of a business controlling relationship than a friendship, I never got to like hang out with any of my other friends that I do hang out with today. Like I couldn't hang out with literally anyone but those two people that they wanted me to keep in that circle. I could not hang out with anyone unless they approved, and it was honestly just a really toxic environment, and it was not fun at all, and I thought I would put an end to it over time. And keep in mind, I worked with them for at least 6-7 months, and that was probably the most stressful almost a year of my life. And you're probably wondering, like, what do you mean by stressful and stuff? Over time, I would notice these weird things, how she would have anxiety attacks. Her mom would have these things called anxiety attacks, or that's what she called them. She would, jump out of cars, threaten to leave, threaten to run away, all this stuff that would scare us. She would always like yell at the kids. The supposedly editor would always yell at the kids and everything. It was just, like I said, it was abusive and toxic and very, it was very unhealthy. Me, Tiffany was very controlling. Piper's mom was very controlling and, very judgmental and very just so forceful. And it began to become a toxic relationship and just overall a bad environment. So that's why they left. And yeah.
I have witnessed Piper's mom jumping out of cars, calling me, telling me to come get my effing kid, and they're all hiding in closets. She was highly controlling. Hundreds of texts to my son, him begging Tiffany, can I please work with you? Begging her, I am so sorry, I'll never go to another event. I won't talk to Coco. I won't talk. I'll block Corinne. It was so uncomfortable, guys, and disturbing. His dad got involved very, very recently, probably like 2-3 weeks ago. And then Gavin got a little bit, started to come out with things that we didn't know. I cannot tell you those things that we do not know. They are not lies. They are all over his text messages. He is dealing with severe stress and anxiety because every single week she would call him, and not Piper, her mom, and say, we're not working with you anymore. We don't like you anymore. We just hate you for some reason because she's, I don't know, not a very nice person, in my opinion. Gavin was so disturbed, guys. And if you all are going to spread hate instead of positivity, I really don't know what to even say.
Okay, action.
If you leave the squad, you're going to get blacklisted.
It's like a cold or something. Can't get out.
I didn't hear the way she spoke to me.
Is it really okay for my child to be displayed to random strangers?
As long as they got it on camera. It doesn't matter what happened to us.
I remember being so scared.
It's not just these kids. There's so many others. These won't be the last kids.
And then, of course, she's been accused of financial exploitation. Similar to other Mamaagers, Tiffany controls Piper's brand and earnings, but questions have been raised about how much of that money Piper actually sees. And like I was saying before, unlike child actors, kidfluencers operate in this legal gray area where earnings aren't always protected, leading to concerns that Tiffany may be profiting from Piper's success without proper safeguards in place. And we're not talking like 10% as a Mamaager, but like taking and siphoning all of her money. And that's just one thing, like obviously. She's also been selling her underwear online to strangers, like to strange men, and selling like feet pictures and stuff like that. Like doing sick stuff and basically exploiting her child's body so that she can sell it for money. So that's another form of financial exploitation, but I'd also call that sexual exploitation. She's also been accused of exposing children to unsafe situations. There have been claims that Tiffany encouraged age-inappropriate content for views, like allegedly pushing Piper and her friends into scenarios that were seen as overly mature or suggestive. There's a whole bunch of other morally and ethically wrong stuff that's been posted on her channel as well, but it's like not necessarily illegal, it's just like morally bankrupt in my opinion. Like, they've had several videos because Piper's dad has never been in the picture, so they have several videos where they clickbait saying that she's meeting her dad, or like one video she talks to this guy that they hired as an actor for the entire video to pretend that he's her dad, and I'm like, that's sick to do to your audience, but also that's sick to do to Piper as well, because as somebody that grows up without a dad and then to have them like pretend that somebody's their dad for views and go through all of this emotional baggage and these intimate conversations is like psychologically torturous. Like, that's fucked. Some of the former members of Piper's squad have said that they were pressured into uncomfortable pranks, stunts, or even scripted drama to drive engagement on YouTube. And there's a documentary coming out, like I said, about this kidfluencing circle that involves the squad and Piper Rockelle, but it's not coming out until April 9th. I'm curious to see what happens with that, and if Piper's mom, Tiffany, goes like legal suing happy over this documentary, or how they're legally allowed to go over all of this. I guess it's like public news now that she's had a court case, but I don't know. I'm curious to see how this avalanches into a giant boiling pot of drama once this documentary actually comes out. But she's also been accused of like alleged retaliation and intimidation. Some ex-members of Piper's squad who spoke out against Tiffany claim they faced harassment and intimidation from her afterwards. There have been reports that Tiffany has tried to silence critics or former influencers by using legal threats or leveraging her online influence. These allegations paint a picture of an extremely controlling and allegedly abusive parent-manager dynamic that goes far beyond the typical stage mom stereotype. Like, Tiffany seems to allegedly prey on these people that want to be famous. She seems to exploit the unregulated nature of like kidfluencing. She's clearly put Piper and all of these members of the squad in harm's way. Now, Piper Rockelle may be the face of her massive social media empire, but behind the bright thumbnails and bubbly personality, she's been living under an unimaginable amount of pressure. Like, in the short video that I watched of her, she was saying how like, oh, I can't be just like out having fun. Need to put a roof over my head, and I'm like, that's nothing that a kid should ever be worried about. Like, that's your parents' issue, and I think that that's just very telling of like who actually pays for everything in that house. But she's been living under an unimaginable amount of pressure from this, like pressure no child should ever have to bear. From a young age, Piper has been the breadwinner for her entire family, an exhausting role that forces her to keep up with the relentless demands of content creation, sponsorships, and brand deals, all while navigating the emotional toll of an industry that literally chews up these child stars and spits them out. Unlike most kids her age, Piper doesn't get the luxury of simply growing up. Her entire life has been monetized, filmed, and carefully curated for content. Every moment, whether real or staged, is turned into content. And at the center of all of it is her mother, Tiffany Smith. She's pulling the strings and profiting off of Piper's success while allegedly creating a toxic and abusive environment behind the scenes. It's one thing for a child to be famous, it's another thing entirely for that fame to come at the cost of their bodily autonomy and their emotional well-being, and potentially even their safety. Piper has also been at the center of countless controversies, some because of the content she's been pushed into making, and others due to the lawsuits and allegations surrounding Tiffany. But the worst part, Piper is ultimately the one who's going to face all of the backlash. She's the one getting criticized online, the one whose reputation is being questioned, the one who has to stand in front of a camera and pretend everything is fine. Meanwhile, Tiffany, the person who's allegedly put her in all of these situations, stays behind the scenes, shielded from the worst of all of the public scrutiny because she's not the one that's the public figure. It's easy to judge from the outside, to look at Piper and think, well, she seems happy, or she has money and fame, so she must be fine. But money doesn't erase the pain of being controlled, manipulated, and pushed to perform. It doesn't change the fact that her childhood has been shaped around what will get the most clicks and the most engagement and the most revenue. And not to mention, like, her entire team and her entire revenue and her entire business is counting on all of these people that are enmeshed with her mom that are all like employees for her mom. And it certainly doesn't change the reality that she may have never had a real choice in any of this. I just don't understand how more and more just keeps piling onto this story. Like, nothing has changed and Piper is still being exploited to the max, but now it's even worse, I would say, than it's ever been before. And if you're not familiar with the Bop House, neither was I before making the research for this video. Essentially, the Bop House is like a content creator house, like the Hype House, if you've heard about it, and they are basically controversial OF creators. So Piper posted this video where she was essentially dancing to a song that was known to be associated with the Bop House, so that people knew that it was like her Bop House audition, because she's putting it out there, or Tiffany is making her put it out there, that she wants to be a part of this content creation house, even though she's 17 and these are OF models. So it's obvious which direction Tiffany would like Piper to continue taking her career. And so you're probably making the connection here as to why this is so wrong, considering Piper is a minor. She is literally still 17 years old, and she's collaborating with these OF creators in this OF creator house. And people are arguing about whether or not she's actually part of the club or part of this house. And one of the creators has responded saying that she's never been a part of this house. And one of the other creators or former creators of this has basically been standing her ground and saying how wrong this is, but we'll get to that in a second. And I'm just like, does it really matter if she was a member of this house? Why is she working with this house at all? And what's most controversial about them is not that they're OF creators, but obviously it's controversial right now because they're creating with Piper Rockelle, who's a child. But a lot of their promotion seems to be geared towards children, but they're literally selling OF content.
My brother, now how does it feel that your sister has an OF?
Well, if it's taking me this far to Disneyland, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. And I still don't know what my friends mean when if it's pink.
You will never know, buddy. But hey, subscribe. Let's see where it can take us.
Like, this is so wrong on so many levels. So it's obvious why it's so wrong that the Bop House is creating content with Piper, not just because of the fact that she's a minor, but especially as a minor that has the intent to join this house. Like, you're now just opening her up to a whole market of creeps. Allegedly, Piper's mom was using this website called Brand Army, essentially exploiting her daughter and selling her to old men. Like, you pay to have messages or conversations with Piper through this app, and you pay for other different perks and stuff, but like at $200 a message, it's definitely not kids that are using this service. It is creepy old men that should be on some kind of list. And like I said earlier in this video, there was a member of the Bop House that chose to take a stance on this, or she's a former member now, her name's Joy, but this is what Joy had to say.
It is about Piper, because one thing about me is that I'm never gonna do anything associated with a minor. Like, it is ridiculous that the Bop House would even do that when there's so many other people you can collab with that is over age, because we all know what you guys do.
But of course that wasn't just the end of it. Aisha, one of the creators of the Bop House, she saw this TikTok and decided that she would make a response where she didn't really do any good for herself or for the whole situation. So here's what Aisha had to say.
I totally understand Piper being in the Bop House is wrong since she's 17. But the issue with this is that she never was in the Bop House. She came over to Sophie's place after we ran into her at the mall. It was literally just for fun. All we did was make TikToks.
People are not waiting for the Astrovino kids to drop a site. But people are literally waiting for Piper to drop one, and she's 17 and a minor. It's weird. And then there have been people commenting on the Bop House post, invite Piper, because they want her to drop. And then y'all invite her? Like, is that not insinuating something?
In response to Joy's post, somebody said, finally someone has common sense. It's so weird that people are okay with this house sexualizing a literal minor and exploiting her for money. Crazy. As a CSA survivor, I know exactly why Joy is crying. The grooming being boasted about before our very eyes should make us all want to cry. Honestly, watching a child be sexualized life is excruciating, especially knowing that it's seemingly all orchestrated by her mother who sexually assaulted a minor on camera. The girl who left the group and called them out is the only one there with a brain. The fact that everyone is against her and thinks Piper should join is disgusting. She didn't join. Please stop acting dumb. Why else would she be there? It's called the Bop House, and she's 17. This is disturbing. She and her mom knows right from wrong. They know exactly what they're doing. When she turns 18, she's going to be a part of it. Piper's mother had her heading in this direction since she was 10 years old, so it's not surprising. Her mother would have had her been a part of the Bop House if child OF content was legal. I don't blame any of the females of the Bop House. Females like that have no morals, but I blame the mother because she couldn't make the content herself, so she used her daughter. This is honestly so upsetting. When I started watching Piper's channel like very young, I liked her and idolized her. She's like a couple months older than me, but the fact that she wants to be associated with OF and her own mother sexualizes her, I don't know how her mother has managed to keep custody of her because it's clear she only uses Piper for views and money. The sad part is I don't even think that Piper really truly grasps how much she's been exploited by her mother, and Piper might even currently be agreeing with her mother and the decisions that are being made for her. I'm not really sure what the relationship is like between the two of them right now, but I just wonder how there was this entire lawsuit with Piper still having to work for her mom and still being associated with her mom in this team. Like, why has this child not been emancipated? So, like I said previously, Elliana was involved in this squad. If you're not familiar with Elliana, we've talked about her at length on this channel because of Dance Moms, but Elliana and Yolanda, who's her mother, were stars on Dance Moms, and then they also were on Dancing with the Stars Junior, or at least Elliana was. But Elliana later moved on to be a part of this squad, and she definitely went through the same exact manipulation and control as everybody else did. So, in Eliana's words, this is what happened to her while she was dealing with that.
There are definitely some videos that I was like, I don't think this should be allowed.
Yeah.
A lot of things were pretty traumatizing. I was like not allowed to like engage with like anyone they didn't like at all. So for example, I liked one of Coco's posts. I was called up and told to unlike the post right away.
It's a like on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. The mom of the group made me, back in like late 2021, fire my manager. And she made threats that if we didn't, to my mom, that she would do stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say what, but she was making threats if I didn't fire my manager. And like very serious threats,
right.
Not things like, to be like taken lightly. I had to fire my manager at the time because we were threatened.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I had to, and there's so many others, but I'm like, I don't even know if I'm like allowed to say some of them.
Were you scared like when you were there?
Oh yeah, I was like screaming, crying at her on the phone.
Yeah.
I was like, no, but then unfortunately at the time I was like, this is still something I want to be a part of, so.
It's hard when you're in it. When you're in something, it's so hard to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not like actually get out of it, but like mentally like be like, I want to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's your life. Like, you're there every day. You're filming, what, you said, like 4 videos a day, like 7 days a week. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I'm done. I'm getting out of it. Because, like, mentally, you're just so locked in.
Oh, no, that's exactly what it was. And so I sucked it up, and I was like there the next day.
Yeah. Reporting for duty. But you didn't, the internet probably knows this, but did you live at the house or you didn't live at the house?
No.
Okay.
So I had my own house.
Yeah, and you're out, like, but you were there probably late till late.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then right back in the morning. It was like a job.
Yeah.
Like a 9 to 5, except it was probably like 9 to midnight. But
oh yeah,
yeah.
And while I was doing my research for this video, I came across a channel called Uncle Herman. And when I said that this woman has done some absolutely twisted and awful shit to exploit these children, I want to share with you guys some clips from this video that I found from Uncle Herman, who goes through all of these allegations towards her, because they're truly disturbing. This woman is absolutely unhinged, allegedly.
Piper Rockelle Smith started making videos on YouTube and Musical.ly when she was just 9 years old. Or rather, her mother started filming her and posting it online at that age, because no 9-year-old really understands what it means to grow a social media audience. Before that, Piper was on the beauty pageant circuit, and according to Tiffany, Piper was already tired of pageants by the age of 7 and started talking about this new app called Musical.ly, and from there, an opportunity was seized, and within months, Piper became a regular on Musical.ly's top 10 ranking board. Piper's early YouTube videos videos were started alongside her Musical.ly venture and were a mix of innocent craft videos, vlogs, and then a whole string of strange bath challenge videos where she would take a maple syrup bath or a ramen noodle bath or a shaving cream bath, and she would film these often with her older brother Hunter Hill, or at least at the time he was introduced as her older brother. But other sources have since detailed that this man is her mum's younger boyfriend. Tiffany Smith and her boyfriend, 27-year-old Hunter Hill, seem to be orchestrating Piper's every move behind the scenes. Whilst Tiffany recruits people to be in the videos and stages the situations, Hunter films and edits all the videos. Piper's channel is populated by a rotating group of kids known as Piper's Squad. In order to populate this squad, Tiffany Smith first recruited Piper's cousins before going further afield and posting casting calls on local forums in LA and auditioning kids to pretend to be her daughter's friend. According to the LA Times, Piper's mother is deeply invested in the teenage romances, and according to a squad parent, Ashley Rock Smith, Tiffany sent Piper a daily iPhone checklist cataloging the attention that she needs to pay to her boyfriend, including sending him heart emojis, giving regular kisses, hugs, and loving touches. Tiffany quickly realized that by putting her daughter in these situations, by creating relationship drama, sending her dirty clothes to creepy guys on the internet, and posting pictures of her daughter in bikinis, showing her feet, and filming videos like this, that she could tap into a whole new market of predators who want to watch her over-sexualized daughter.
And if you want to check out Uncle Herman's full video, I will leave it linked down in the description, because she goes into all of this stuff against Tiffany in depth. So at the end of the day, the kidfluencers like Piper, she's not the villain in this story, she's obviously the victim. A victim of unregulated industry that allows parents to profit off of their children with little oversight. A victim of an allegedly abusive home environment where love is conditional on success, and a victim of a system that often forgets that behind every viral video, there's a real kid who might just be suffering in silence. We're going to be talking about the DMs that were leaked from Piper's account that I believe were from Tiffany Smith. So these messages came from Piper's Instagram account, which I believe that the messages were orchestrated and sent by her mom, Tiffany Smith, but they're in response to the Netflix documentary that's coming out about them, and it says, "This is nothing but lies, made by people desperate for attention and clout. They've been trying to drag me and my family through the mud for years. I will not let this happen. I've had enough of people trying to twist the truth and use my mom's name for views. I've already contacted my lawyers. This documentary will never see the light of day. I'll do whatever it takes to stop it. If these two accounts don't stop posting about this ridiculous documentary about my mom, I'll make sure their accounts are removed. You think you can keep spreading lies and false stories about me for clout? Not on my watch. I've had enough of people trying to use my name for views. If you don't want to lose everything, I suggest you stop now. It's not just about spreading lies, it's about destroying people's lives for attention, and I won't stand for it. You won't be able to hide behind your little accounts once I'm done with this. Don't think I'm bluffing. I will make sure your accounts are shut down, and I won't stop until the truth is known. If you keep pushing, I'll make sure it all comes crashing down around you, so go ahead, keep posting. But just know that if you do, you'll have to answer for it, and it won't end well for you. Let them all know that." So I'm just gonna say for the sake of this video that everything in this is alleged. I don't know who sent these messages, whether it was Piper or her mom or somebody else on their team, but they also said, "Sophie thinks she can just start a documentary and expose me like I'm the bad person. It's my turn now. When I turn 18, everything is coming out." So Sophie, if you're not familiar who they're talking about, is referring to Sophie Fergie, and she was a member of the squad. The DM continues to say, "People think I'm going to expose my mom. It's all about Sophie and Lev. They started this whole thing, so now it's my turn to tell the world exactly what they've done. They thought that they could get away with lying and twisting the story. Not anymore. They've been hiding behind the truth for too long. But when I finally speak up, it's over. I'm going to expose everything, every secret, every lie, every manipulation. Sophie and Lev are going to wish they never started this. I've been quiet, waiting, but now it's my turn to take control. People will finally see the real story, the one they've been hiding from everyone. You think this documentary they made is the truth? Wait until mine comes out. Then everyone will know exactly who's been lying this whole time." And I've just got to say, on behalf of these DMs, whether they were sent from Piper or her mom doesn't really matter to me. If they were sent from Piper, then yes, I don't think that Piper understands the whole gravity of the situation. And if they're sent by Piper's mom, Tiffany, then that just makes perfect sense. But it doesn't really matter what kids said or how they were twisting the story. There was sexual misconduct caught on video, and the staging of the kids to do sexual intimate stuff stuff and to be exploiting them online, and all of the inappropriate stuff that's come forward about Tiffany, it doesn't really matter anything other than that. Like, there's cold, concrete facts about everything else that Tiffany's done that's inappropriate. It wouldn't really matter if Piper sides with her mom in the end. The harm has already been done to the other kids, and maybe Piper doesn't understand it yet, but one day she will. And the message goes on to read, Sophie only made this whole documentary about me and my mom because she's irrelevant. She knows she's fading out of the spotlight, and this is the only way she can get attention again. She's been quiet, but now she's using my name to get people talking. It's pathetic. She's trying to make herself seem like some kind of victim just so she can get support and be relevant again. Everyone can see through it. She's not doing this because she cares about the truth. She's doing it because she knows if she brings me and my mom into it, people will start talking and she'll get the attention she's been begging for. But it's not going to work. Sophie's desperation for clout is so obvious, and when the truth comes out, everyone will know exactly who's been lying. The person running the account said, I hope you actually watch the documentary about you and feel ashamed for what you did to your daughter and the ex-squad members, assuming that the messages are coming from Tiffany. And they responded, pretending to be Piper, or maybe it is Piper, and they said, my mom did nothing to them. They're all lying. This documentary they're putting out is a joke. It's nothing but fake stories and manipulation to try and ruin my family. Don't even think about supporting this BS. If you do, I'll have my lawyer come for you. They can spread all the lies they want. But it's not going to work. I'm not backing down, and I will make sure they regret every word they've said. I keep unblocking you because people keep sending me your stories about me. It's getting to be too much, so I'm kindly asking you to remove them and take down the highlight. I'm being really clear here. Stop dragging me into your drama when all I've ever done is ask you to leave me alone. If you really cared, you would have listened by now, but since you don't, consider this your last warning. If those posts stay up, don't be surprised when you start losing everything. I've got enough power to make this go away, and trust me, you won't want to deal with the fallout. This doesn't have to be hard, but you're pushing me to make it so. Just take it down and we won't have a problem. Keep ignoring me and you'll regret it. I'm not sure if there is any ethical way to go about raising a child in the entertainment industry or as a kidfluencer, to putting your kids into these industries and to putting your kids out in the public for everybody to consume. Kidfluencers have completely changed the entertainment landscape. Kids aren't just watching YouTube anymore. They're starring in it, building million-dollar brands before they even hit their teenage years. But as we've seen, the reality behind the ring lights and viral videos isn't always as picture perfect as it seems. And we haven't even dipped a toe into the family vlogging channels like Ruby Frankie and 8 Passengers, that one family vlogging mom that's currently in prison, or like the LeBron family, for example. But I think that I'll save that for an entirely different video where I do a deep dive onto family vloggers and how corrupt that is, if you guys want a video about that sometime. But as we've seen, the lines between childhood and work, family and business have been completely blurred, and in some cases, like Piper Rockelle's, which we've focused on today, they've been completely shattered altogether. With Netflix's upcoming docuseries Bad Influence, The Dark Side of Kidfluencing, we're about to see just how deep this issue really goes. I'll be watching when it drops, and trust me, I'll keep you all updated on my thoughts. If this documentary pulls back the curtain on everything we think we know about kidfluencers, we might finally get some real conversations about exploitation, labor laws, and what needs to change in this industry. I personally think that between documentaries like this one and the Quiet on Set documentaries that I covered, was it last year or maybe the year before, that there's at least a lot of public conversation surrounding this, which I think is the first step in having actual laws be enforced and having things being voted into law. But in the meantime, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about the kidfluencer industry or the kidfluencer pipeline? Do you think that these kids have any real control over their lives, even if they're saying, like, I want to do this? Do you think that that's something that a kid should be able to consent to? I was saying earlier in the video how I don't even know if there is an ethical way to go about having a kid in the entertainment industry or raising a kid as a kidfluencer, but what do you guys think about that? Do you think that there's some kind of ethical way to have your kids online and to have a career in the public? Or do you think that the whole idea should just be like kiboshed? Let's talk about it in the comments. So that's basically all of the updates that I have for today's video. What are your thoughts about these DMs that came from allegedly Piper? let me know. And if you haven't yet, I would really appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. So I don't know, I personally think that this docuseries that's coming out on Netflix looks pretty juicy, so I will definitely be watching. When I saw that this preview popped up on my like YouTube or something, wherever I saw it first, I was like, ooh, Netflix, because I saw the little icon, and I was like, oh, I should go watch this now. And then I realized it's not coming out until April. While we wait for that docuseries, you can watch this. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any other suggestions for deep dive kind of docuseries videos like this that you would like me to do, let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to be weird, be wild, and stay sparkly, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.